Good evening, everyone. This is Chinmay speaking from Sourcing Adda, and thank you for joining us today for the webinar for LinkedIn Alumni Search. We have here with us Mr. Masood Sayed from Talent Pandit, Director for Operations, and Masood will host this webinar for today. Masood has got experience of more than 11 years in sourcing and recruitment and have worked with companies like FutureStep, Capgemini, Verve OS2i. So I hand over this mic to Masood now, and he'll take care of it now. Thank you.
Hey guys, Masood here. I guess Chinmay has already given an introduction in terms of where I come from. Passionately, I'm a sourcer. The rest of the things come later. So today we're going to talk about, we're going to basically talk about alumni searches on LinkedIn. Now, before we start talking about LinkedIn per se, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk through a little bit about what are alumni, how we're going to run through it. So we'll try and kind of talk a little about what the alumni search is all about before we start discussing in terms of how to go about searching on LinkedIn. So I guess we've got some people in, some people are coming in. I guess everybody can see my screen. Chinmay, can the screen be? Can everybody see my screen now?
We can see your screen.
Oh, great. So I can start. So first of all, today we're going to discuss about what's an alumni search. Second, we're going to talk about why is it that we need to do an alumni search. Third, we're going to talk about different approaches to alumni search. And then we're going to specifically talk about one approach, that is LinkedIn, in terms of how do we use LinkedIn to search for alumni. Right? Now, what is an alumni? Alumni generally is looked at somebody who's a former student of a particular college, institute, or anywhere an education has happened. If you consider LinkedIn per se, wherever you've put any name of an institute, college, or any area where you've done a particular certification or a course, it will be called as a college, school, or institute. Current people who are doing that particular certification is also considered as part of an alumni in LinkedIn parlance. Some people also talk about a term called corporate alumni, which is associated to somebody who's working for a particular company. So while we talk about alumni in general as somebody who's done an education in that particular place, corporate alumni is where somebody's worked at a particular place. You'll also come across certain terms like alumni associations. Now these are nothing but formal or informal gatherings, or somebody who's kind of put together some kind of a grouping where people from the same college or institute have decided to come together and form an association. These associations are generally associated with get-togethers in more of a physical nature, or sometimes they might meet on the web, so they'll have chapters. Now all alumni will not have associations, but most of the associations, alumni associations, will be associated to one or other kind of an alumni network. Now why do we need to do an alumni search? We have got simple searches which we do on portals, job boards, social media sites, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. When do we really need to go after an alumni? There are multiple reasons and multiple perspectives of doing an alumni search, but generally I look at an alumni search when I am looking after a particular degree or certification. Let's say I'm going after a finance certification, I want CS. So I would prefer to look at institutes which provide CS certifications and search through them, get a list of people from there and network my way through it. Second is, let's say some company is looking for somebody from a premium college. Let's say I want HR graduates only from Narsimonji or Simbi or institutes like that. I would prefer to do an alumni search, on those particular colleges, and then try and again network my way through it. Now there are ways of deriving at a particular college by deciding which is an area where people, which is the institute where people generally hire from, or which institute, let's say Cognizant in Chennai would primarily hire from a particular college. TCS in Chennai would probably hire from a particular college. So you'll come across certain hiring patterns of companies also from respective alumni, which LinkedIn can give you a perspective on. We're looking at, as already mentioned, top graduates. It's primarily if you're looking at people who have had some kind of accolades or honors in a particular institute, that also could reflect in an alumni search. A lot of people face challenges around fake certifications. So sometimes you can look at an alumni search to get accuracy of people data on it, but not always, because LinkedIn, if you look at it, does not control what you write on your profile. If somebody is written, I am a graduate from Narsimhanji, then LinkedIn believes it. There is no formal way of verification. But if you go on to a college site, then the formal way of verification is definitely there. Okay. Now there are multiple approaches to alumni. My favorite one is the alumni directory, which I look at institutes which have a directory. They will allow you to search on their education, the stream that they educated from, the time that they educated, the year they graduated from it. Let's say if they have come from a particular location. So it becomes easy to find alumni wherever there are directories. And in some cases the search is not there, they're just listings. And most of the listings are around some kind of honors or accolades that you've acquired while you've been studying with that particular alumni, a particular institute. Now alumni associations associated with meetups where people gather, talk, have chapters, chapters have names, and wherever you have names, you have potential of identifying different sets of people and then network your way through it. Most of alumni will have alumni cells. Now, alumni cells is nothing but somebody who is moderating that particular alumni network. If you're looking for people from a particular association, it is absolutely perfect to contact these alumni cells and tell them, I want people from who have passed out from your institute within so and so, and give them the criteria, and they'll be happy to come back to you with any information that may have. They can also advertise your requirement on the alumni pages if required, in case they have an advertising option. The events come along with lists, come along with photographs, come along with names. Wherever there is names and information given, it's a good pool to harvest your candidates from. Now Facebook also has an alumni search, Twitter also has an alumni search, LinkedIn also has an alumni search. Twitter is a slightly more complicated one, because then you're trying to search for people who have liked something on a particular alumni, so it gets a little complicated. But Facebook and LinkedIn are fairly simple. LinkedIn by far is the easiest. So today we're going to talk about how to use LinkedIn to search for alumni. I suggest a 3-step approach when you're using LinkedIn. First is identify the college or university or school that you want to go after. Second is you can use filters and then keywords, both, and we'll talk about it once you move to the page. But when it comes to finding institutes, LinkedIn does not really give you enough search features to understand which is the best university for you. So ideally you should be looking at our favorite Google to understand and identify the respective institutes you want to go after, then search on LinkedIn for those institutes, and then go about finding alumni. Okay, so we'll just jump onto LinkedIn per se and see. Okay, now alumni searches ideally are done after logging into LinkedIn. So first you log into LinkedIn, and then there are multiple ways of approaching the alumni page. I prefer just searching the name of the institute and going from there. Let's say I am looking for chartered accountants. Okay, so I would go on to Google, try and find out which are the institutes which basically give certification chartered accountants. Let's say, for example, I am taking Institute of, which Institute of Chartered Accountants can I take? Institute of chartered account. I'll select universities from the drop down that comes here. Okay, chartered accountants. So I'll do a search and see if there's anything that comes across. So I've got multiple institutes here. Okay, or I just put Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Let's take India for example, because we're focusing on India search today. So it gives me the institute page of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. I'm assuming a lot of CAs will come out of this place. Okay, so any institute page on LinkedIn will have 3 to 4 sections. You'll have that home, which will give a synopsis of whatever is there on LinkedIn in terms of their alumni. Then gives you general information. It also gives you streams in case anybody has posted on it. Okay. The second is notables. And this is picked up by LinkedIn primarily if there are anybody whom they feel have made it quite big in the industry. LinkedIn has got algorithm picking up these guys, so it will pick up these guys and reflect it. A third, which is more interesting for, is students and alumni. So if you click on students and alumni, you will see. Why is it not open? You will see a list of all the alumni from that institute. So down below you will see the list of all alumni, and if you keep on going below, it will keep on reflecting more names for you. Now let's say I want to search for people only in India, so it allows you something called filters. So I can just click on India. It will take India, only candidates in India, so the number automatically changes. I don't have to do any search or anything. Okay. Now if I want to look at people who are currently working only for a particular company, let's say for ICICI Bank only, I can click on ICICI Bank, becomes my second filter. Now while filtering, you can also look at doing a search on that filter. If I see show more, it shows me all the list of companies that are there whom for which these alumni have worked for. So let's say instead of ICICI Bank, I want people who are working with, I want to just put Tata here and see what comes. Gives me a list of all Tata companies. I'll pick up TCS. So I can do a filter search by clicking on the hourglass that is mentioned here. Okay. Now I can remove TCS as a filter. I can remove ICICI Bank as a filter. I want to check if from these CAs, how many of these CAs have graduated. I want people who basically have graduated in the last 5 years. Let's say at least 5 years since they've graduated. So I can select 2009 here. By default, it takes the current date. So I put 2009, and automatically the filter changes, and I get to see all the alumni that are working on it. Okay. Now, if you, let me just make it show less, that narrows it down a little bit. Now let's say if you want to look at more options, we have where they live, that is the location, the company they're currently working for, what they do, that's basically the industry that they've mentioned, the function that they have mentioned in LinkedIn. You will see what they studied, that is their course. I want people only in accounting and finance, I can select only in accounting and finance. What are they skilled at? Now this option of skills is basically what skills they have tagged in their LinkedIn profile. And if you want to look at the connections, you can look at the first connection, second connection, group members, or everyone else. So let's take another example. Let's say we're looking now one more way of identifying which alumni which institute I go after is primarily by looking at the candidate itself. Let's say I'm looking for somebody who is PMP certified, and I search for people. I am searching for, let's say, PMP certified, people with PMP skills. and most of them are in, I'm looking for people in India. And I look at the guys that have that certification. I pick up Krishna Pandey. I don't know which institute has he certified from. So I look at his education, and here he has mentioned. Okay, so he has done his PMP done. He's done his PMP from Project Management USA. If I open that institute, I can directly jump onto the alumni page. Okay, so here I get to see all the people who are currently PMP certified by just going through a candidate CV, understanding the college that he graduates from. If you like that candidate, prefer to look at the education that he's gone through, especially if it's a certification. Alright, now once you have identified, now you can, if you want to change the school, let's say I want to now look at people who are from the, let's say HR guys who come from the top premier colleges. Let's assume we're looking for an HR guy who is from Simbi. So here I can select, and I need somebody who's at least has got 10 years of postgraduate certification. So I'll say graduated from, say 1993. I got 65 results, and I need somebody in HR. So here is a top list of guys whom you can go after. Now, once you have this list of candidates, so there are multiple ways of finding the universities or colleges. My best way of doing it is by going through candidate CVs themselves and trying to see where my best candidates basically are coming from, and then looking at that alumni. Or possibly search for alumni institutes, search for colleges and universities which are relevant to what I'm searching for, and then search them onto LinkedIn, find the university page, and then go about searching candidates. Once you have found the candidates, then it's fairly easy to connect. Let's say if I want to connect with Mr. Chandra More, I can either click the plus icon, or I can cross-reference him using different methods, which I guess would be covered at a later stage. But essentially, we're looking at people whom we can connect to. Okay, so today we're not covering how we go about connecting, but essentially once you find a profile, you will have a different way of connecting with them, either through a colleague or either through a internal anybody in between you and that internal connection, or possibly using cross-referencing on other sites. Now, if you look at the profile, here you will see there are certain circles. So it tells you, this one tells me how many connections I have in common who can connect me with Amanpreet Singh here. Okay? And here, if you look at it, it says, here you look at there's nothing. Okay? It looks at 09 is written here. That means he passed out in 2009. This guy is passed out in 2093. Sorry, 1993. He couldn't be born then. So looking at the year that he was born into, he graduated from that particular institute. The last tab is the recommendations piece. Let's say if somebody has been quite fond of this institute, could recommend. It makes a lot of sense to connect with these guys, because people generally who are recommending on university sites would be closely networked with them, so they could give you decent references. So guys, this is what is a brief about how we go about using alumni on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, you could put that onto the, you could basically ask it using the chat, or possibly send it across on Twitter, which we can answer later.
Okay, thank you, Masood. So guys, if you want to directly speak to Masood now in the webinar live, we can hand over the mic controls to you. If you want to put up a question in the chat box, you can just put it up there and I'll read out the question and Masood will answer it. If you want to ask something after this webinar, you can put it up on Twitter using hashtag sourcing at the webinar and also mentioning Masood. So let us know if you have any questions.
So good, no questions.
Okay, so I guess there would be some questions coming up through Twitter, Masood. So thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you, Masood, for hosting this webinar. You can see Masood's Twitter handle is mentioned here. That is @talentpandit, and you can mention him and ask your question. You can also use hashtag sourcing at the webinar and keep your questions coming. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Chinmay. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.